your pain, Malus. But your soul belongs to me.
Mostly the Mad here, and today I've got another video about Malus and how to confederate Malekith really early, and also just about 3 of my favorite ancillaries or followers that the Dark Elves can get and how you can farm them to sort of enhance your Dark Elf campaign. I'd originally been planning on doing a Malekith video sort of as a companion to the Malus video I did, because those are my 2 favorite legendary lords for the Dark Elves, Malekith and Malus. But then I was contacted by a guy that goes by the name of Assassin. He'd been working on some Malus starts, playing around with diplomacy and with selling Hagrief and moving his capital to different locations, because he was able to figure out you could move your capital to other places outside of the Dragon Isles when you sell Hagrief. He hadn't been thinking about confederations at all, but then when he saw my video and he kind of combined that with what he's been working on, and he's actually come up with a new 2-tone confederation guide for Malekith playing as Malus that is actually heaps better than my guide. And although I was kind of tossing up between Malekith and Malus as who my favorite Dark Elf is to play, I think now with Assassin's new guide, Malus is hands down my favorite. Now I'll bookmark Assassin's 2-tone Malekith guide so you can skip straight to that if you like. But I just wanted to quickly touch on a few things about what makes Dark Elves so great to play. The Dark Elves have the slave mechanic, which just gives them an amazing economy, and an economy just gives you freedom. Like, having lots of money gives you the freedom to do what you want in the game. I love hero-centric gameplay, and the Dark Elves are one of the factions that gets access to a lot of heroes, particularly masters. You can recruit 1 master for every one of your minor regions if you build barracks. They also have a lot of unique magic items, particularly limited use spell items that allow you to cast a spell 2 or 3 times without using any winds of magic. Dark Elf Lords have the loyalty mechanic, so when they get to very high loyalty, you get dilemmas that can sometimes give you unique magical items. Also, when their loyalty gets very low, they can spawn a separatist faction or an enemy. So you can basically exploit this to create your own enemies if you want to farm extra XP for your lords. There's a lot of great things about the Dark Elf faction that I could cover, but I just wanted to focus specifically on their followers and banners today, their ancillaries. The Dark Elves have some really unique and powerful ancillaries, and I don't know if it really gets much airplay about how overpowered those ancillaries can actually make the Dark Elf faction. First, I want to give a quick shout out to Specific, who made this ultimate ancillary guide that I'm reading from today. I'll put a link in the description down below so you can go and check out that Steam guide yourself. Look at all the public order followers they get. +4, +6, +2, +4. I think they get more powerful public order followers than any other faction. The great thing about Specific's guide is it doesn't just tell you what they do, but it tells you how to get them and the percentage chances. So Overseer is a powerful one. It gives you +10% income to local region buildings. And what you need to do there is have the technology broken by the lash, and then rank up when the faction has 20% trade and more than 2,000 treasury. So you can't get this right at the start of the game, but once you've unlocked that technology, you can check your trade up the top and see if you're trading at least 20% of your resources. And then every time a character levels up, you have a chance of them getting this. And so you can stack numerous ones of these up on different characters and put them all into one region for really high income. The High Elf Slave is another one of my favorites, just because it's so useful and it's so easy to get. Again, it gives you +10% income for all buildings in the local region, but it's a 30% chance every time you sack a settlement. So particularly if you have a bunch of heroes in a sack city army that's just sacking continuously, you can get multiples of these, and almost every hero type can equip it except for the Fleetmaster and the Death Hag, I believe. The last one I want to talk about was the Envoy. This is another one that you can't get early in the game. One of the prerequisites is that the character has to have won 4 offensive battles. So yeah, you can't get one before at least turn 5, I guess. You have to declare war on that turn and then rank up, and then you have an 8% chance to get it. So again, 8% doesn't sound like much, but late game, if you've got a lot of heroes, and you're sort of declaring wars on and off every now and again, you just sort of incidentally get these. But if you're aware of it, you can sort of time it. If you know you're going to declare a war at a certain time or whatever, you can sort of try and do your sack cities at those times to make sure that you got multiple characters that are going to level up on that turn that you declare war. And if if you do that, you've got an 8% chance of getting +10 diplomatic relations with all factions. And you can get multiples of these. I've had campaigns where I've had 3 of these, so I've had like +30 relation with all factions just from this ancillary. So that's another one that's potentially exploitable. You know, because you can potentially get an infinite number of these. You know, you have like +300 relations with all factions, I guess, theoretically. Anyway, I think the Dark Elves are a very powerful faction with a lot of really powerful tools, but I think the Ancillaries is one of the ones that gets a little bit overlooked sometimes, and it's actually one of the things that I think makes them really, really powerful. Now we have the new and much improved Assassin's 2-turn Malekith guide. I can't compliment Assassin enough. He's an amazing guy. This strategy just really blew me away when he explained it to me. It is pretty complicated though, so I'm going to go through the steps pretty quickly. Maybe just watch this guide to get an overview, but then it's probably going to be easier if you just actually follow the written guide. So I'll put those written steps in the description below. First, select your army in Hagreef and move towards the Temple of Cain. Make sure you stay within the border of the Hagreef region. Next, you want to demolish the Den of Outlaws, the Shade Recruitment Building in Hagreef. Next, the diplomatic actions. If you follow these steps exactly, you should be guaranteed to get the turn 2 Confederation. Declare war on Grond. Form a non-aggression pact with Har Ganeth, Hellebron's faction. Join Nagaron's war against Clan Septic. Non-aggression pact with Clark Harond. Form a non-aggression pact with the Forge Bound. Declare war on the Broken Chains Orcs. Invite Clark Harond into the war with the Broken Chains Orcs. Invite the Man-Blight tribe of Beastmen into war with the Broken Chains Orcs. Declare war on the Man-Blight tribe. Next, sack Dragonfang Mount. Don't occupy it this turn. Move the Black Ark a little way away from the shore, then move Malus into the water. Then use the Black Ark to transfer all of the troops from Malus's army into the Black Ark. The Black Ark gets a 50% cost reduction on their upkeep. If you don't want to conquer the Dragon Isles and you're just going to migrate entirely to Nagaron, then just demolish the barracks. If you're going to try to conquer the Dragon Isles, which is not guaranteed, then recruit 2 units of Corsair Handbows. Then end turn. Turn 2. Form a defensive alliance with Hellebron. Declare war on the Mung. Using your army in Hagreef, occupy the Temple of Cain. Select Malus's army and move to attack Dragonfang Mount. Auto-resolve the battle and occupy it. When the hostile takeover dilemma appears, take the money, give up Hagreef, and get the 20,000. Drink the elixir twice. This will unlock the Rite of the Warmaster. Because the Temple of Cain is the closest settlement to your old capital of Hagreef, it will become your new capital after you sell Hagreef to Malekith. Now perform the Rite of the Warmaster, and your new beast army will appear at the Temple of Cain. Now your faction strength should be high enough for Malekith to agree to Confederation. You will have to give him some gold as well. There might be a random element to this, so you could try giving him only like 8 or 9,000, but 11,000 or so should do it. And that is Assassin's new and improved 2-turn Malekith Confederation guide. One thing to note is that the Eye of Hagreef Mines gives you minus 60% upkeep to all units within the province. That includes the Temple of Cain. So your Rite of the Beastmaster army is actually going to be much cheaper than it otherwise would have been. However, because you're just confederated, you've got so many armies, your supply lines penalty is through the roof. So you need to get rid of a bunch of those armies as soon as possible. Once you've disbanded all of your armies except for your Black Ark and your Rite of the Warmaster Beast army, the upkeep should be very much reduced as long as you stay within Hagreef. However, you may still not have enough upkeep to maintain your army, so you'll have to disband some of these units. The starting loyalty value of the Lord in charge of the army is random, so if it's very low, they may actually rebel when you try to disband some of the units. But you have no choice, you have to disband them, so you just keep trying until you're able to disband them. Now at this point you have a lot of options. You have a strong army in the Nagarond area, so you can conquer perhaps Cragrock Deeps, take out the Orc faction and consolidate your power in this area. You also still have an active Black Ark in the Dragon Isles area, so you can potentially still conquer the Dragon Isles using the Black Ark, or if you want to abandon the Dragon Isles, you can disband the Black Ark and then after 5 turns respawn it over at Hag Grief or Naggarond. If you want to maximize your chances of confederating Marathi, you want to send your sorcerer agent down south to make diplomatic contact with Marathi as soon as possible. There's nothing really guaranteed, you just have to, I guess, wait until she's sufficiently threatened, but the earlier that you make contact with her, the more chance you're going to witness that moment when she's ready to confederate. I find if you give Hellebrand about 4 small gifts at some time in the first few turns, then by the time the confederation time is up on turn 7, she should be ready to confederate straight away. I've tested it twice and was able to easily get her on turn 7 both times, so I guess that's not enough to know if it's 100%, but it seems pretty reliable. Maybe you just have to offer her more gifts if you aren't getting her on turn 7. But yeah, so Malekith on turn 2, Hellebrand at the fastest possible after that on turn 7, gives you a great head start to get all the rest of the lords. One more quick note, if you disbanded Malus on turn 2, then he'll be ready to be respawned on turn 7 as well. So you can put him in charge of your Rite of the Warmaster army that's full of all the beasts, and he'll actually make the Dread Knights and Cold One units free as long as you're still within the province of Hag Grief. So you get both Malus's minus 50% reduction and also the minus 60% from the mines. Before I end the video, I just wanted to reiterate, I didn't come up with this strategy. This is 100% the work of a guy by the name of Assassin, who was kind enough to explain his strategy to me. And yeah, thank you so much, Assassin. This strat is awesome. I love it. I think it's so much better than the one I came up with, and it's my go-to strategy from now on. Also, yeah, just again, shout out to Specific for his Ultimate Ancillary Guide. I'll put a link down below to that. And also to the wiki page for Malus's unique ancillaries and rewards that he gets from his Zarkan Whispers quest, which is really cool as well. I was kind of undecided about whether Malekith was still my favorite or if the new improved Malus was my favorite now, but after getting this strategy from Assassin, I think I'm definitely on Team Malus now, and he's definitely my go-to lord for all my Dark Elf campaigns for the time being. Anyway, yeah, that's all I got. Thanks, guys.